create you and check. Test. 1, 2, test, test. Good morning, everyone. It is the 2nd of January 2018. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I know the audio sucks. For some reason, my microphone just doesn't want to cooperate today, so please bear with me. Anyway, this is Michael, also known as Cyber Marketer Bitconnect Old Guy, because I'm really freaking old. And we're going to talk about something that nobody else is talking about, and that's called minding your own business. This is going to be a series, and the first one we're going to talk about is security. How to secure your computers, your cryptocurrencies, and your banking, because let's be honest, guys, this is a big problem. Nobody knows what they're doing and how they're doing it. Guess now my keyboard doesn't want to work. Anyway, there's your standard disclaimer, basically saying get competent financial advice from a licensed accountant, lawyer, or financial advisor. Don't take my word for it. This is for informational purposes only, so plan accordingly. All right, let's talk with the basics here. I'm a former U.S. Marine Guard. I spent most of my career in Central Africa and in Asia. My job was to secure the building as well as classified material. I'm not going to get into any of that, but computers were part of it, but not really much. But I do know a few things that can be used at home and how we can better be secure in the way we operate. Let's first talk about operational security and the reason why it's important. First of all, if you got $1,000 in your bank account and somebody steals it, the bank's going to reimburse you because it was the bank's fault. But in this world, it's going to be your fault. So you've got to be very, very careful about what you're doing. And OPSEC is defined by the Marine Corps Department of Defense as a systematic and proven process that identifies, controls, and protects sensitive information about your stuff. All right, I'm not going to read it. You can read it on the screen. But I'm going to tell you first and foremost, whatever you do, do not use your cell phone at all with Bitcoin, Bitconnect, or cryptocurrencies, because keystroke logging software is on half of the phones that are infected on the planet. For example, a good question to ask is, why did the flashlight app that I just downloaded need my contact list? Let's just give you an idea of the kind of tracking software that's used. It also contains your passwords, your email addresses, your Wi-Fi access codes, your location, where you visit, where you go, and above all, no wallets on your cell phone, or you're going to lose it. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I know John McAfee is a bit of a nut, and but he's not stupid. So look up his videos on security and how paranoid you should be. And the reason why this is important, guys, is once again, this is the Wild West here we're talking about. This is not like dealing with a bank. What we're dealing with is security that you've never even understood. A lot of people out there have always just expected their banks to take care of it. Well, in the cryptocurrency world, you've got to be cautious. And you've got to put these things that I'm going to talk about into place depending on your risk tolerance level. Because to be quite frank, if you put any of your wallets on your phone, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and you're going to lose it. Never access anything on your cell phone. All right. Now, before I go on, I wanted to add something real quick. The person who has helped me do this is a global cybersecurity chief for a Fortune 100 company. His job is to make sure that all financial transactions going into and out of the company, to pay vendors and to pay and to accept funds from clients, whether they're at the point of sale in the store or they're buying on the internet. His job is to secure that. So he's helped me come up with a list of things that are going to help you and me make sure nobody steals our money. Passwords for your computer and your Bitconnect interface, etc. Buy a small notebook and write everything in it. Passwords, key cards, all your information that's necessary to get into your computer. You've got to back it up and you got to write it down. Then, after you've done that, buy a safe and bolt it to the floor. And no, I'm not kidding. Memorize the combo, write it down, put it in the safety deposit box at a bank, along with a backup of your notebook, and don't lose the key. And yeah, I'm serious. This sounds extreme, but let me ask you this. If you know somebody who's sitting on $500,000 in their Bitconnect wallet and you're a bad guy, what are you going to do to get it? Anything and everything you can. So these are some of the physical security things that you can do, as well as some of these cyber security things that you can do. Don't tell anyone what you're doing. I know getting on the internet and talking about how much money you're making is fun and all the reinvests, I get it. But every time you do that, you're going to give somebody a piece of information. So if you're going to do that, do screenshots. And then don't have the website live when you're doing it. Do screenshots, explain to people what you're doing, and then move on. The only person who should know any of this is your spouse, and that's a maybe, as sad as it sounds. We've all heard stories of a husband or wife running off with whomever for whatever reason. Prudence will rue the day. If you trust your spouse, and I hope you do, but if you don't, these are some things you're going to have to talk about, or you're going to have to deal with. Don't even tell your kids, your best friend, your priest, your rabbi. You got to act like you work for the Central Intelligence Agency here, guys. And if anybody knows anything about those guys, there's only two people on the planet that typically know if you're working for them if you go in as a young man or young woman, and that's yourself and maybe one parent. And the only reason why is because they're going to do a background check and then you're going to figure it out anyway. So the old adage from World War II was loose lips sink ships, but in this case it will sink your bank account. So keep the information that you tell people private. Give them other people's websites to go and look at if you feel as though that's the right thing to do. Maybe somebody else can explain it better on a different YouTube channel than yours. If you don't have a YouTube channel, that's fine. That's even better. But that's one way to lose your money is just start telling people you have it. Because as soon as you start having lots of money, then your relatives are going to start asking for loans. Your friends are going to start asking for loans. It's going to be kind of like winning the lottery. Trust me, been down that road. I sold a company and made enough money, and all of a sudden, because I was very proud of what I did, but everybody wanted a loan. You got to play defense here. So here's some solutions. Buy a standalone laptop that's only for Bitconnect and your Bitcoin transactions. No Wi-Fi capability. The reason why is because if you're using Wi-Fi and somebody's sniffing, they can pick up your signals. It's actually very simple hardware. You have a receiver at one side of your house, you have a transmitter on the other. They blast the house, and anything that comes out the other end, they pick it up and they do it. Now they got your stuff. No camera. Use a biometric scanner, and absolutely, at minimum, do a two-step authorization. Now, you can go to a couple of different places. I use both Google, and I'm going to look up the other one because I don't use it very often. I use a Google Authenticator, and I use Authy Authenticator, A-U-T-H-Y. That's for two separate accounts because I don't want to use the same two-step authentication for the same accounts, just being cautious. And this computer should never, ever, ever be connected to the internet unless you are transacting business, moving money, reinvesting, etc. Plug in, turn it on, log in, do your work, unplug, log off, shut down, store the computer in a safe with your notebook that has all your information in an RFID bag. Yes, this is anal, but if you're sitting on $100,000 in that computer, what's your risk factor? You have to determine it yourself. I'm going worst case scenario. And do I do all of this? No, but I do about 98% of it. Next thing is buy one of these, a Trezor. These things are like Fort Knox and are recommended by John. Yes, they're expensive. They're $200 to $300 depending on some of the gizmos you get with it, some of the options. But if you're moving and storing thousands or tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, pounds, euros, yen, whatever you're doing, daily, weekly, it's nothing. Okay, and it's tax deductible. So if you're sitting on, 15 or 20 bitcoins, or even 0.5 0.25, 0.025. Do you still want somebody to steal it? This thing will lock it down. There's plenty of videos on YouTube. I will I will link to a couple of ones that I saw that I think are very, very good and explaining what it does and what it can do. And also, it'll recommend that you store your passcodes and words on a separate card that is actually given to you when you buy the Trezor, and keep those in that notebook that I talked about, and keep that notebook locked up. Okay, let's sum up here. Trust nobody. Nobody. Especially people who you're not related to. The level of money that is possible is staggering. It's truly staggering. There are people that will hurt you for $2,000 in this world, let alone 200K. So again, don't advertise too much. I'll talk about hiding your money in a future video that's not going to run afoul with the IRS or some of the other countries that I'm familiar with. I'm pretty familiar with the Japanese tax system. I'm pretty familiar with the British tax system. The EU is a completely different animal. I know nothing about it, but I do know that there are competent and like-minded legal minds in the EU that value security, value privacy, and there are incentives within the tax codes in all Western democracies and Western countries that allow you to store your money away and to get paid in a way to minimize your taxes. I talked about that in a previous video about a month ago. I didn't want to start coming out with videos because I wanted to wait 2 months. I started this business in October 27th, 28th of last year. And I put out one video because I saw people were worried about their taxes. Now that the new tax bill is out, I will be making a future video on it. I know that there has been some changes about when you go from one cryptocurrency to another. I have a tax professional that I am working with that is going to help me explain that to you. But we'll cover that in another video. And again, don't gamble with your future. This is a cash cow. Don't be the easy target. Remember, the hackers that are going to come after you are going to go after the low-hanging fruit. Make sure your fruit's high in the tree. Anyway, guys, once again, this is Michael with Bitconnect Old Guy. The next video I'm going to be putting out will be about building your financial team. And I'm going to touch on that real quick. A financial team that I have, and I have it for my other businesses, is I have a tax lawyer, I have an accountant, I have a bookkeeper, I have a lawyer that deals with estate planning, because once you start getting into the realm of more than 6 figures of value, then you have to start considering that. I also have insurance. Yes, I have an insurance guy, because when you start making that kind of money, you start spending it, and you have to start spending it wisely. You can't be blowing it on Ferraris and Lamborghinis. The nice thing about me being an old guy is I already got that. I got a Jaguar. I got a Jag convertible. I have all the toys. I bought them all in my 30s and 40s. I found out that that's not what made me happy. But don't get me wrong, I still like ripping tires off the Jag because it's got 500 horsepower. But we need to talk about the future. We need to talk about planning. We need to plan for our children, our children's IRAs, our IRAs, our retirement. These are the kinds of things that we're going to ultimately be discussing about minding your own business. And I'll be covering that in the next video. Once again, guys, I appreciate everything. If you didn't like this video, put a dislike on it. And if you liked it, give me an uptick. If you didn't like it, tell me why. If you liked it, tell me why too. Click on subscribe. I'd appreciate as many people following me, because I think I have a unique perspective of the way we can run these businesses with the maximum amount of profit, the least amount of taxes, as well as taking care of our families, because that's what this is really all about. Anyway, guys, have a good day. Bitconnect Old Guy out.